Hello, everyone. As you know, Walt and I try to keep up with anything that's going on out there in the world that will affect your investments, including war and what's going on in the Middle East and oil and so on. And in the course of this, I read this fascinating article by a man named Menachem Rahat. He works for the Jewish Press, jewishpress.com, and he wrote an article called The Curse of the Eighth Decade. And what he said was this. He said, for the Jews, they've really had two kingdoms. One was formed by King David. It lasted 81 years, and then it all fell apart. Well, then there was the second kingdom. It was called the Hasmonean dynasty. Well, it lasted all of 78 years, and it all fell apart. And now here's Israel. It became a nation in 1948, some say 1947, and here they are in the eighth decade, or heading toward it. And so he said, is it a curse? So why bring that up? America has a very similar pattern of every 80 years. So let's go back. 1620, the Pilgrims are coming over to America. They lose about 15% of their group just on board the ship because of disease. They land at Plymouth Rock and they do something really amazing. They dedicate the land to God. They say, we're not going to be under kings. We're not going to have all of this intrigue and all of this stuff that's over in Europe. We're going to be different. And they wrote the Mayflower Compact, a beautiful thing. Well, then what happened? Well, about 50% of them died that first winter. But then in 1621, they meet the locals who teach them how to plant, how to fish, how to hunt, how to survive in the New World. And something grips. And America really gets launched right there. Spring forward about 80 years. Queen Anne's War. We don't study this thing. But actually, it was the Vietnam of the era, and it was the British versus the Spanish and the French. The British threw them both off the continent for the most part. This is why we have British law and not Spanish or French law. Big change. Spring forward about 80 years. It's the American Revolution. Well, General Washington's about to lose. The whole thing's about to fall apart, and then it all changes. And then even after we win, they have to hold the colonies together. They have to start a whole new country. Tough times. All right, spring forward 80 years. We're at the Civil War. Well, the whole nation's divided, family against family. We all know that story. Spring forward 80 years. Depression and World War II. The whole nation changes yet again. And prior to World War II, the nation was divided. We were pulled apart. Anyway, you're getting the idea. So where are we now? 80 years forward. It's right here, right now. We're actually kind of on the same cycle. The difference between us and Israel is they all fell apart. America didn't. Our 80-year change has actually brought forth good things. I'm glad the Pilgrims gripped. I'm glad we're under British law, not the other law. I'm glad we got rid of slavery. I'm glad we beat the Nazis and the Japanese in World War II and what that meant, not just for us, but for the whole world. So, are we in this time of change now? I think it's pretty apparent to everybody, yes. Is it the curse of the eighth decade for the United States? I wouldn't call it a curse. I would say it's just another transition, and in every previous period, we have come out better. But our job here at Zanetti Financial is to get you through this transition period. So again, I believe we're in the right investments to do that, and that's all I've got for today, and I'll turn it over to Walt.